Welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. All the stories told on this show are either fabricated, alleged, or didn't happen at all, and shouldn't be used in the court of law. We hope. Welcome to the Interrogation True Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, Corey David, and we have a very special guest with us.
Extremely special.
Very special. I would say of the utmost specials. Maybe 5, 6 specials.
Yeah, about 6. I top out at.
I would go that far, yeah. My boy Brett Hiker, dude. Say hi.
Hola.
So you said the trip's been, you're visiting.
I'm visiting. I'm here for a month.
Yeah, but I mean, it's easier when you have family and you lived here for a long time.
Yeah. And I also have countless Denver comics who owe me favors.
Yeah.
Because they've all crashed in my apartment in New York. So,
oh, that's true.
Yeah, so I can just come back to town and cash in.
You do have a cool spot in the city.
I have a cool spot.
Seems like it's a good neighborhood. It's a big ass apartment.
Yeah. No, as soon as I get priced out of there, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do.
We'll just enjoy it. I mean, how long have you been there now?
9 years.
9?
Yeah.
I mean, so what prompted your move to the city anyway? So just, I guess, a little backstory. So you're from Eagle, Colorado.
I'm from Eagle, Colorado, but I cut my teeth as a comic in Denver. Mm-hmm. And then I got a call to go work on a Liam Neeson action movie in New York City. It's called Nonstop.
A call? Like the classic, like Hollywood will just call me someday.
Like
they will just call me someday.
Hey, kid, you got what it takes. You want to be in the talking pictures?
Because, I mean, were you already working in film stuff here?
I was working in New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Like, I was part of the New Mexico Union.
Because the Netflix built that studio in Albuquerque, right? Was that most of it?
No, that was before that. But there was still an industry before that. Like, you know, there was like 8 big stages, maybe 10 big stages in Albuquerque. Breaking Bad was filmed there. Mm-hmm. Pretty much every Western you've seen was filmed there. Or post-apocalyptic or Middle Eastern movie, because that's what New Mexico can double for.
Yeah.
Either the past, a horrible future, or Iraq.
Yeah. I mean, Albuquerque is, I had Josh, do you know Josh Fournier?
No.
He's an Albuquerque comic. I had him on the show a few weeks ago. And I mean, his life there, just describing growing up in Albuquerque and growing up on Native American reservations, like around there too. It's like, it's horrible. It's a nightmare.
It's gnarly. It's the Mississippi of the West. People don't realize that. But like, yeah, no, it's a rough, whenever you see like these stats of just kind of like the 5 poorest states or the 5 states with highest child mortality rate or just always like 5 least educated states. It's always like the ones you expect, you know, like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, you know, all those southern states. And then somehow in every list in the top 5, New Mexico is just tucked in there.
It just happens to be, it's not the number 1, but it cracks the podium basically in every worst
bad stat. Yeah.
So wait, were you living in Albuquerque too?
I lived there for about 2 years. And then I came back here, but I remained a member of the union and would go down there and work.
Yeah. I mean, because it's close enough, right?
Yeah.
That if the job's paying well enough that it's worth it.
Yeah. And then New York was getting busy, so they were reaching out to other unions. And so, yeah, they were like, they sent an email being like, if you're interested in coming to New York, let us know. And I was like, I'm interested. And then they called me up like later that day. And they were like, can you come out to New York? And it was like October. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll move out there in January. I was like, no, we need you here tomorrow.
Like now.
And I was like, all right, how about next week? And they're like, sure.
Good compromise.
Yeah.
So did you feel safer in New York than you did in Albuquerque?
Oh my God.
Really?
New York's crazy safe.
Yeah.
It's like when people come to New York and they're like, so what neighborhoods should I avoid? I'm like, you won't find them.
Yeah. I was going to say, you'd have to try really hard to find them.
And there are gnarly neighborhoods in New York, but you got to get so lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Albuquerque, it's literally, if you turn any direction, it could be the end of your life.
Right.
Or your bank account.
In the most boring Walter White suburb and driving around, and then like every like 50th garage door you see is just covered in bullet holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that's like the wildest place like you've ever been in terms of like crime or
absolutely.
safety?
Hands down.
Have you ever been to East St. Louis?
I have.
Yeah. So Albuquerque reminds me of East St. Louis.
Is gnarly.
I'd say it's more gnarly than Albuquerque.
Yeah. I mean, I've only like barely been there, and I see the stats in East St. Louis. And one time in college, I was at a party where we were playing drinking games, and some guy lost whatever. I don't remember what game it was we were playing, but he lost. I think it was King's Cup, but he lost the game, and he didn't pound the beer in the middle like you're supposed to. He just like took a big drink, and then he like took a break. And some guy was like, "You got to finish that," and he's like, "Oh, I can't." And this guy fucking whips out a box cutter, and everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" He just starts screaming, "I'm from East St. Louis! I'm from East St. Louis!" And then, of course, I was drunk and started taunting him, being like, I'm sure there's tons of boxes that need open in East St. Louis. You're in Colorado now.
Yeah,
I mean, boxes.
Who just carries around a box cutter?
I know, right?
I mean, just have a knife. Knives aren't that expensive.
Yeah, there's something very...
There's something like more grimy about having a box cutter. Like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, because you said, who carries around a box cutter? And I'm like, I spend a lot of time carrying a box cutter at work.
Yeah.
But only because I need a knife that I can fuck up and not care about the blade. Like, I need to be able to, like, cut on, like, lay something down on the pavement and cut it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I mean, you never know when a PA is going to go off the rails and you need to defend yourself.
Yeah, and scream, I'm from East Eagle.
Yeah. Do you know who I am? I'm from Gypsum, Colorado, which is pretty rough. It's a pretty rough and tumble part of the mountains.
If you have a choice between fighting someone from Eagle and fighting someone from Gypsum, fight the guy from Eagle.
You always want the Eagle guy.
The kids from Gypsum were so much gnarlier.
I believe it. Yeah, it's scrappy, right?
There's not even a bar in Gypsum.
No.
There's barely a restaurant.
Yeah, you just drink in your car. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a mobile bar.
My God, yeah. all the Gypsum kids have the gnarliest stories of growing up. Like, what would you guys do? It's like, oh, we'd go to, like, Eagle kids, like, we'd go down to the pharmacy and get slush puppies. Like, what would you guys do for fun? We'd set the half pipe on fire.
Hell yeah. Because that makes skateboarding way more fun. Yeah. At a certain point, everybody got so good, they're like, how do we up the stakes?
No, they were all skateboarders too, and they'd burn down their own half pipe all the time.
Yeah, because they're dumb and badass. Yeah. That's the thing. They go hand in hand sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes stupidity and badass are usually right there, neck and neck.
No, I asked my friend once who used to burn it down. He's like, oh, when I was a kid, every time they rebuilt it, I would just set it on fire again. And I asked him, I was like, why? He's like, I don't know. I was ornery.
Yeah. Just an angsty kid.
Yeah.
Well, I brought up East St. Louis just because, like, so I lived in St. Louis for a summer, so I was selling home security systems.
St. Louis is a gnarly town.
Yeah. So when you're selling home security systems, they kind of draft the cities, like that the team, whichever team, like they organize a group of people. It's all a big Mormon church racket, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that about home security systems.
ADT?
Yeah. Think about it. Like you know how in the summertime, there's other industries too, like solar and insecticides and stuff for like your yard.
Yeah.
It's all door-to-door salespeople.
Yeah.
Who better to do that job
than Mormons
than somebody that did it for 2 years?
Yeah.
Selling God.
So it's training.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like my mom had gotten me in on it because she's like, oh, you know, there's a couple guys that we went to church with and they're making like a lot of money selling home security systems. And I was like, sure, why not? Right. And so they draft like the cities that you want to go to. And they obviously try to pick the ones that have the most crime.
Yeah. St. Louis, Albuquerque, Baltimore.
Yeah. And I think Houston was pretty high on the list at that point too. And that might just be because of the size of Houston as well.
Huge.
It's gigantic. Yeah. So we were in St. Louis, and for anybody that doesn't know, East St. Louis is not a part of St. Louis. It's not even in Missouri.
It's in Illinois,
actually it's across the river in Illinois.
But it reminds me of Camden as opposed to Philadelphia.
Yeah. It's the only place I've ever seen like bullet holes in bank windows. Gas stations were burned down. There were wild dogs just running. I had to run away from a wild dog.
Dude, if you go up at the top of the St. Louis Arch and look east, my God, is it a difference?
It just looks like a waste. Yeah, it's like Mad Max.
It's burning cars and dumpsters, dumpster fires.
Yeah. I mean, one of the only places too I've ever been where I like literally prostitutes were just like standing on the corners of like every neighborhood. There were certain neighborhoods that I could not go in, like because I essentially look like a cop, you know, because I'm wearing like a blue polo and khaki shorts or whatever. Yeah. I'm just walking around these neighborhoods and people are obviously curious. They're like, what the hell are you doing here? Yeah. And some of them were cool. And then other ones were just like, you need to turn around like right now. I'm like, okay, bye. Yeah.
I mean, so I had a neighbor pitching me. He's like, you got to go to Asia. And I'm like, I've never been to Asia. I'm kind of scared to go. And he's like, no, it's crazy safe. And so we looked up, the 50 most dangerous cities in the world. Mm-hmm. And St. Louis is number 7.
Of all of them in the world?
In the world. And well, here's the thing. 49 of the 50 were in North and South America.
Oh, really?
There was one in South Africa, but Asia had none. Europe had none. Australia had none.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind with Asia, with obviously China being the biggest country, is that they're really strict over there about a lot of their laws and rules and stuff. So if you fuck around, like you might be going to jail for a really long time for something that doesn't even that seems fairly innocuous, So I think they just I think mostly from being like communist countries for so long and kind of ruled by dictatorships and authoritarian states, like they don't commit as many crimes, at least that aren't out in the open.
I thought that logic didn't work. Like when Clinton cracked down on drug dealers with harsher penalties, it didn't cut down on drugs.
Yeah,
people just didn't know the law and they just went to jail for longer.
I suppose, but I don't know if it hasn't been as ingrained into our society for as long.
We didn't have decades of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decades, centuries.
Centuries.
Just of pure terror.
Well, I see like these clips on the internet of just like people on little scooters coming by and snatching purses and whatnot in whatever, Cambodia or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, fucking Asia looks like fucking chaos.
Or maybe it's because the police don't give a shit, so they just don't report as many crimes.
Maybe.
There's probably more crime happening, but they just like the cops. You hear, I mean, how many times have you heard stories about traveling in other countries and you have to bribe the police?
Right.
I've never heard that here. You know what I mean? Like, at least on a regular basis.
I bet you could bribe the cops in East St. Louis.
I bet you could.
Right?
I don't even know why you'd want to be a cop in East St. Louis. I mean, first, I don't know. At this point, I don't really understand why anybody wants to be a cop.
A lot of those hookers are probably school resource officers as a day job.
Yeah.
They work the streets later on.
This summer job.
Yeah.
Some people like to cut lawns, do a little landscaping. Yeah. That means we should probably be paying teachers more.
No, most of my friends who've traveled to Asia, they're like, dude, you'll feel stupid, thinking it wasn't safe. I felt the same way when I went to Mexico City for the first time. I was like, is it safe? And the people had been there, they're like, you're going to be mad at yourself for asking that question. And where I stayed was like stayed in Williamsburg. Mm-hmm. It was the
hipster neighborhood.
It was
in
a
Mexico
total
City.
hipster neighborhood. Everything was really nice. Yeah.
Everybody's wearing beanies and chinos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why are there so many record stores here? Yeah, I think as long as if you travel a lot and just kind of know how to carry yourself.
Right.
I mean, we're fortunate that we are, white dudes, so like I don't think it's easily to fuck with. Yeah.
Yes.
What are you claiming these days?
White.
Mr. Ethnic fluid.
Yeah.
I think travel, but I think if you know how to carry yourself and you trust your instincts, then you can keep yourself pretty safe.
And I've traveled alone a lot, and I've learned some painful lessons the very hard way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I feel like
anything in particular.
I have this scar, this gap in my mustache is from getting brass knuckled in Barcelona.
What?
Yeah.
All right, elaborate.
There was a guy on the subway.
Brass knuckles are so cool.
Dude,
they're so cool.
I'm so opposed to brass knuckles. It was like getting stabbed in the face.
I believe it.
Just like, I didn't even get punched hard. And just like right away, I was like, what the fuck? And I sounded like Zoidberg. Like, because my lip was split to my nose. And it was just blood.
So
everywhere.
What did you do to get, how did the fight start?
Well, I was talking shit to a guy wearing brass knuckles.
That'll do it. Yeah, that's not a great place to start.
Well, now I know that lesson, and now I can travel better. No, it was, honest to God, the true story was that I was traveling alone, and when you travel alone, it's very lonely, and you make some questionable friends, which is one of my big lessons to learn. Yeah. And I made a friend with this Canadian kid who he got drunk, and he's one of the most violent people, and he started a fight on the subway. And
that's what they always say about Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah, very violent.
I jumped in to help him, and I totally got popped with brass knuckles.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
So did you get knocked out or anything?
No. It was like the kid, imagine if Noah Reynolds punched you in the face. Like it was like that. He was like a tiny, scrawny kid, but he was wearing brass knuckles. He punched me. Didn't knock me down. Didn't knock any teeth out. I literally turned to him and went, "What the fuck?" And it came out because my lip was just
exploded.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
So how many have you gotten into a lot of fights in your life?
I used to say I've been in 100 fights, just as like an easy number because then my record is 90. Wait, it's 2 and 98.
Yeah.
Because I was the youngest brother, and I've beaten my brother twice in fist fights.
Out of 100.
Out of 100. Yeah. And then outside of my brother, I've been in like half a dozen fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the turning point for beating your brother?
Oh, the turning point was Home Alone-esque booby traps.
That's silly.
My dad had gotten really into kayaking, and he had all his kayaking stuff in a big mesh bag hanging up in the laundry room, like his life jacket and his wetsuit and whatnot, and his helmet. And the helmet was in the bottom of the bag, and it was hanging up. And I walked in there one day, and I swung it, and I was like, this is like a lethal fucking pendulum. And so the next time me and my brother got in a fight, which happened like once a month, I threw a couple punches and then just booked it for the laundry room. And he chased me into the laundry room. And as soon as I got in there, I grabbed the bag, swung it back, and then just swung it.
Get the hell out of here.
Just cracked him in the face like the paint cans in Home Alone.
No, that's brilliant.
Yeah. And he took the blow and then just stopped and walked out to assess his wounds. And I was like, I'm calling that a win.
Yeah, just reevaluate.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brothers and I, we got into a couple fights. The one big one that my older brother and I got into was over a video game. It was over Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like the dumbest shit in the entire world. Like, why would that? It's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got into a couple fights in college. I've gotten my ass kicked like a couple times.
It's important to get your ass kicked.
I think so, too.
It is. It teaches you a lot about yourself.
And tact and like how to use words instead. Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to fight you, but I am going to make you feel stupid. Yeah. Like I'm going to...
Dude, there's an embarrassing point when you lose in a fight where you have to like, if the person still wants to fight you, you have to concede the fight. You know what I mean? Like if there's a point where you're losing real bad, you're like, you get to say, I'm done.
Yeah, I think there was one time in particular, it was in high school that I was making fun of, like we were doing like a group activity. So we had all 4 desks together, you know?
Yeah.
And there was this kid in my group, his name's Mike Pruner. Mike Pruner didn't deserve this. I was just a fucking asshole. So I decided that I was going to call him Pooner instead because that was fun. Yeah. That's a silly fun name. Pooner. And he said, call me Pooner one more time. And I paused and said, Pooner. And he flipped the desk on top of me and then punched me in the face. And that was it. Like that was kind of,
just
he
one
backed
punch?
up. Yeah. And I was just so stunned. I was just like, I didn't even know what to do, but that was the end of it. And I was like, I think I lost that. I don't think I won that fight.
I don't think I've ever had someone say that one more time, I dare you, and me not say it.
How could you not?
You're not.
Well, I mean,
the youngest sibling. That's how I grew up.
Worse than getting punched in the face, being a coward.
Yeah.
Just being
okay, I'll stop saying it.
No. You win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, did you get into a lot of fights like in Eagle or is it mostly in New York?
So if you're telling your best fight with your brothers who played Halo, my best fight with my brother was we were at the car wash. And he had my parents' car, and we were washing the car for prom. And my friends were ahead of us at the car wash. It was one of those like self-serve car washes where you spray it down yourself. And I rolled down the window to like, just yell something at my friends.
Yeah.
And my brother just goes, don't run on the window. We're at a fucking car wash. Are you fucking stupid? And just started like punching me in the arm and the leg like older brothers do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, fine. And I rolled the window back up. And then one of my friends walked over to the car, but they walked up to his window. And as soon as he rolled it down, I did what a little brother would do, and I just did an impression of him. Like, don't roll your window down. We're in a car wash. What are you, fucking retarded? And then he started turning and punching me in the arm and the leg again. But I was so proud of myself. I was like laughing in his face.
Yeah.
And then when I wouldn't stop laughing as he was punching me, he just reared back and then cocked me straight in the nose.
Oh, fuck.
Which whenever you get hit in the bridge of the nose, you just lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I lost it. And I was probably 5'7", 45 pounds, and and just kind of like voice cracking, just swinging both fists, like bad punches, but swinging both arms as fast as you could, just hit him in his face as much as I could, and
no form whatsoever, just like spaghetti arms,
exactly. Yeah. And then he was like, "That's it," and then he unbuckled his seatbelt, because we were good kids, we wore seatbelts.
Yeah,
he unbuckled his seatbelt and got out to run around the car to the other side. And then my friend who's standing there goes, oh, shit, he's going to beat the fuck out of you. And I was like, all right. And I should mention, too, that we were on our way to go ref a little kid's soccer game.
Yeah.
So
wait, you were going to ref a soccer game?
Yeah, we were on the way to go ref a soccer game. We stopped at the car wash on the way.
Breaking all the rules on the way.
I know. And so I jumped out of his open door that he left as he ran around the car. But I was in soccer cleats, and I jumped out onto wet pavement and tried to run for it. I think I fell twice trying to run on soccer cleats and wet pavement. And then he caught up to me and threw me in a... I landed one good punch as he came around. I landed one really good punch and split his lip open. And then he threw me in a headlock and threw me down to the ground, which he busted his elbow doing that.
So you got something. So you did get away.
And then just wailed on me until I agreed to, in a headlock punching me until I agreed to quit. Until I agreed to give up.
At least that day.
Yeah. And then, of course, we had to show up to go ref kids soccer with just both of our faces bleeding. And
just bloodied, scabbed up. Yeah. Just rashes
eyes swollen. But the best part, too, was that... after we got home, my mom went and played the answering machine for us, and it was just all the people in town that had seen us fighting at the car wash.
Oh, because this is probably big news in a small town.
Oh, yeah. It's like, we saw your boys going out at the car wash. Scott was really wailing on Brett.
Hope they got it settled. Boys will be boys, but keep it inside. Yeah, it's got to be hard to throw a punch with the cleats. Unless you're on grass.
Yeah.
They're not.
And it was. Yeah.
That's not the proper footwear for that sort of thing.
Wet pavement and cleats. Yeah. Not a good mix.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let's get to a couple dumb crimes that I found on the internet. There's a couple zingers this week.
First one's an old one about 2 kids fighting at a car wash.
Yeah. Just happened to find this thing in the Eagle Press or whatever the hell it is. This one's a little relevant to our industry. Bill Cosby plans 2023 comedy tour.
Oh man,
have you heard that?
No, but I assumed.
Yeah, how is this guy still like in the public eye at all? Like, is he still just? I think he must have so much dementia that he probably doesn't even realize like anything that happened. He probably forgot about all the court cases.
He's gonna sell tickets.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, do you think he's going to tour prisons, or is it mostly just going to be theaters?
I wonder if he has to like play smaller theaters. I bet he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's only doing theaters. I can't imagine a comedy club. I'm sure a comedy club would take him.
But I bet he's playing smaller theaters than he used to play before all this shit happened.
But I mean,
hope so, at least.
He was convicted of sexual assault and served nearly 3 years in prison before it was overturned. Like, remind me, was it overturned because like the person's testimony wasn't valid?
No, it overturned because he made a statement where he admitted all his bad things, but it was like off the record. It was like it was part of an earlier plea bargain, and then somehow the lawyers got that released for his trial. Mm-hmm. And then, his lawyers called mistrial. Like, that should have never been released. That he gave those statements as part of a plea deal earlier.
I don't understand the legal system.
I don't either.
I don't understand.
Yeah. So he admitted to the crimes, but he admitted to the crimes in order to like avoid, or in order for like a lesser charge many years ago. But they were able to use that testimony where he was just like, "Oh yeah, I give women date rape drugs all the time and have sex with them."
God, it seems like that used to be like such a part of the culture. Yeah. Unfortunately,
dude, you ever
like, it's in songs. People like
Spanish
openly
Fly?
talk. Yeah, people just openly talk about it.
Beastie Boys had the song of just like this girl walked by, gave me the eye. I reached in the locker and grabbed the Spanish Fly.
What the fuck?
Also, if she's giving you the eye, you don't need to dose her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's already interested.
Also, can I say something very misogynist?
Yeah, please.
Have you ever had sex with someone who just lays there and doesn't move?
Yeah, they might as well have been roofied.
Terrible.
It's not great.
How do people get into this?
I don't know.
Girls.
On the last episode, we were talking about necrophilia, so there is a market for it. People really,
oh my God.
People seem to really enjoy the lifeless body.
Dude, yeah.
But and I was talking to my friend about this the other day too. I don't even, and this maybe just speaks to hopefully the kind of people that I hang out with, which is good. I would like to think. I don't even know where you would get this shit.
I don't either.
Like, Rubies? I've done all different kinds of drugs. I've even been to a person's house where they're like, I show up for mushrooms.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, while you're here, I've got Molly, I've got Coke, I've got weed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Not once has anybody ever been like, all right, so I've got Molly and roofies. Yeah. If you're looking for it.
Once I've gotten it. It was... we were in the void years between 18 and 21, and we were driving home, and we totally in Eagle, and we saw this like drunk guy, like too drunk to walk, and we picked him up, and he happened to be like up in the mountains, like close to where we were going, so we gave him a ride home. Then he's like, "Come in, I got a bunch of beers," and we're like, "Okay, yeah, we're fucking 19.
Sure, sounds great.
We don't have access to beers," and we go in there, and at the time, there had been a weed shortage in town, but there was a bunch of hash, and so we had a ton of hash.
Randomly, a lot of hash.
We had so much hash that we were making little like Play-Doh figurines out of hash. Like, hash, man, you're going to get put on the hot knife.
That's when you know something's in total abundance, when you can start just doing other shit with it, because like we have so much of it, we might as well just have some fun, make some characters.
So like, we're drinking his beers, and then we're like, "Can we smoke some hash?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." And then his roommate came out and smoked some hash with us, and then his roommate was like, "That hash is killer. Will you guys sell me some?" And we're like, "I don't know." And he's like, "Will you trade me?" And we're like, "What do you got?" And he's like, "I got roofies."
What?
And we're all like, "No, we'll pass."
Yeah, because I don't even want to know. Like, you don't even want people to know that transaction happened.
It was just like, but we didn't like even like think about like that we need to report that guy. We're just like, nah, that's weird.
No.
Yeah, and then never gave it another thought.
So wait, did you get some?
Roofies?
Yeah.
No.
So I know some guys that I went to school with that they roofied themselves.
Yeah.
For fun, just to see what would happen. And I don't remember if they said it was like a good experience, because there's that stuff that Tom Segura like OD'd on that was like GBH or something.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's big in the gay community.
But apparently, like, up until the point you can't function, it's supposed to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But he just took too much. Is essentially what happened. So I'm curious.
GHB, right?
Yeah, that's the one. I knew I screwed up.
Because GBH is the punk rock band. Yeah.
I knew they were the same.
Yeah.
I'm curious if like does roofies like does it feel good at all up until like you black out or what?
I do have a story of one time at a party in the mountains I was, the party had just started. We had a keg up in the hills, and I was hanging out with this girl, and then I totally pulled my move, like, hey, you want to go to my car and smoke some weed? And she was like, yeah, totally. And we went there, and we made out a little bit and whatnot, but nothing major happened. And then like her friends that she came with were like, hey, we're leaving. And she's like, already? And they're like, yeah, we're going back to town. And she's like, oh, all right. And then she goes, finish my beer, and hands me her beer. And I drank it. And this is like, my second or third beer of the night. And I black out completely after it.
So somebody tried to get her.
I think someone tried to get her. Yeah. And she gave it to me. But I don't.
Or did she try to roofie you and try to get you home?
No, I think it's very unlikely that was the case. Yeah,
You're like,
I would be so flattered if that was the case.
I heard about that big fight you and your
and
brother
also
had
how
at the car
stupid
wash.
how stupid was she that she thought an 18-year-old virgin needed to be roofied?
Exactly. I think with guys, the likelihood is far less, unless you're probably at a gay bar or something. Because you're like, it's an easy yes.
Dahmer roofied people all the time.
Dahmer did.
Yeah,
yeah, I could
like that was his thing.
Yeah, make him helpless. Oh, God,
but
so
even
gross.
in like the gay clubs that had little like fuck rooms in the back, he would roofie people and then fuck them unconscious, and then that's when he was like, ooh, I could do this at home and kill him.
Yeah, why leave?
Yeah,
when I can just Grubhub this
right?
shit.
Yeah.
That's so
Staying is the new going out.
I hope Cosby gets roofied. Can somebody? Do you think he's been roofied before?
Wow.
Somebody should.
Yeah.
There has to be like
poetic justice.
I would hope so. I mean, like enough people
that
are in his camp at this point.
Yeah.
Like somebody has to Trojan horse this situation and say like, all right, enough's enough. And even if something bad, like something not bad would happen, but just kind of like, let's give him a taste of his own medicine, unless you think that's already happened.
I don't know. It'd be a pretty epic thing to do to Cosby. And here's the thing. If you got like busted for it, if he's just like, I remember my entourage roofied me and it's this person. And that, and then you got like charges pressed against you. Like you would be on some level a national hero.
Yeah.
If you roofied Cosby.
You would be, I think your life would be salvaged by everybody else's support.
Yeah. I don't think you get canceled for it. I think you'd probably still face whatever criminal consequences.
What is the criminal charge for drugging
I have
somebody?
no idea. I have no idea.
I mean, how long do you actually go to? Because if you just drug somebody and you don't do anything to them, what's the charge?
Like CeeLo dropped Molly in a girl's drink, and that's how he got canceled. He dosed a girl with Molly, and then there was that big thing where Ari Shaffir dosed Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, Kreischer, yeah.
And I get it too, because it was like Kreischer's like last night in town. He was doing the podcast. He dosed him on the podcast because he thought it'd be like, because Bert Kreischer had never done Molly before. He dosed him thinking like, oh, this will be good material. But like, funny. Bert Kreischer was supposed to do all this family stuff that night because he's about to go on tour. Right. And so he's just like, now I'm fucking rolling my ass off. And so he was really pissed. And there was a lot of drama. But I think about it as like, if my friend were to like dose me with Molly and I had no other commitments for the next 10 hours, I don't think it would bother me.
No, but I guess it's all dependent because I know people that are scared of doing certain drugs.
Yeah.
I've just done so many at this point that even if like I started to feel funny and you were like, hey, you feel how you feeling? And I was just like, you rascal, you.
Yeah.
I knew. I guess I know how to handle it.
If you had dosed me with Molly like before this podcast and then told me, I'd just be like, you rascal. I was gonna do mics tonight, but maybe I'll still do them. But if I had an audition tonight and you dosed me, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah, furious.
Yeah,
right? Because now you've just ruined my day.
Yeah,
because I'm not in the mental state to do this.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it would be pretty tough to dose me with something I haven't done. It'd be like, surprise, how's this syringe in my arm?
Yes. Yeah, it would definitely be a very different if you dosed me with something I'd never done before.
Yeah. But I think at this point, I just know how to handle enough drugs that I'm like, okay, well, we're here now.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
just gonna ride it out.
Exactly.
And I think most things don't last that long. I mean, an acid trip can last a really long time. Molly's probably 2-3 hours. You know? If with an initial dose
or mushrooms, same deal.
Yeah, it's about 2 to 3 unless you do a lot. Unless you do a shitload.
Yeah,
you have to be pretty dumb to get dosed with mushrooms unless it's powder.
Acid would be kind of more of an asshole move because it's like you need to figure out their schedule first before you do.
And acid can it varies so much.
Yeah.
Depending on what you get. It can be like really you can get like a lot of visuals, or you just get these extreme like highs and lows in emotion. But certain drugs, they kind of steady, you know, for the duration of the experience.
Well, so have you ever heard the story that on the set of Titanic, one of the caterers spiked the punch bowl with PCP?
No.
So I'd always heard this story and assumed it was an urban legend, but I actually read a story where they documented what exactly happened, and it was one of the caterers got fired. They were in Nova Scotia, filming like the bookends of Titanic. You know, like when the modern day crew is like finding the Titanic and digging up the stuff. They're filming those scenes. One of the caterers got fired, dosed. I don't know if it was, I think he just put it in the water, like they had a big water pitcher.
I haven't been on a ton of movie sets, but are there a lot of punch bowls?
No, no, there's not.
Like the characteristic. Well, it's a movie. Somebody made punch.
I read how they think he did it, because they don't even know who did it, but they have a very good suspect of who they think did it. But like, yeah, people lost their minds, and to the point of like, what was it like? They all had to like go to the hospital, and like they were just you know, of course, when you don't know what's happening and you're tripping balls, and like James Cameron got in a fight while he was tripping with his first AD, which he's known for getting in fights anyway. But his first AD stabbed him in the face with a pen, and as he was bleeding, James Cameron just started giggling like crazy. And they said no one was handling it well except for Bill Paxton.
Because he's been here before.
Yeah,
yeah. Like, all right.
No, yeah. He said he was sitting in a hospital bed just trying to calm it. He's like, guys, we just need to ride it out. It's true. Fine. We need to ride it out.
Which is true.
Yeah.
All right, let's pause really quick. I need another beer.
Okay, me too.
Okay, and we're back. Let's keep moving with another crime. This one's obviously a big ordeal that happened this past week. Right-wing influencer Andrew Tate arrested in Romania as part of a human trafficking case. Did you know a lot about Andrew Tate before this happened? I saw him pop up on TikTok occasionally.
Yeah, I'd seen the name. But no, I like a lot of people tweeted this week, I had to learn who Andrew Tate was to figure out why the story was.
I mean, I think I'd only ever gotten about 10 seconds into any of his videos. But like, I just hate all of this. I don't really even need to see this until the end, because I already think this guy's a huge piece of shit. And I don't want to reward him for being a piece of shit by continuing to watch the videos.
And he was just kind of like a men's rights activist, kind of like a championed like men being dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I guess these days, if you want to get famous, you got to just like pick a lane on something. Being polarizing
works.
Is the thing that works, right? Especially with politics. It's just like it's kind of like even just doing comedy or doing or just having an argument for fun. It's way more fun to have a strong opinion than it is to be like, I'm indifferent to it.
Right.
So, I don't know. He just seems like he's made a career out of being out of that.
But then at the same time was also trafficking humans.
Yeah,
which,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
And talk about, I mean, I guess of the same vein, he probably knows where to get roofies too.
I'm sure Andrew Tate knows where to get roofies.
I'm going to go ahead and assume if he knows where to get people, he probably knows where to get the drugs to get them.
I wonder if Cosby's opener will be like, well, life's been slow since Andrew Tate went to prison.
What if they went
Just my hookup's done.
What if they went to break up the party and Bill Cosby was there?
Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Bill Cosby and Andrew Tate just eating pizza, smoking cigars.
And he was in Romania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why was he in Romania? Of all the countries.
I figured because it's Eastern Europe, you'd have easier time human trafficking.
I suppose, it's a bigger deal. It seems like it's more of a thing there. That's where the guys from Taken. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Romania,
it's Wild
Bulgaria,
West,
all that kind of stuff, right? But if he already had charges against him in that country, how many charges? He must have charges against him in like multiple countries.
Yeah,
man, I don't even like.
Is he British?
No, I don't think so. I think he's American.
Is he?
I would imagine. But I don't even like. I freak out if I have unpaid parking tickets and I'm like, I'm going to get arrested, or it's going to go to a debt collector.
Yeah.
And it's going to ruin my credit.
Yeah.
Forget having outstanding warrants internationally.
Right. To the point that, like, you can't afford to have a pizza box in one of your fucking social media clips because people will identify where you're at. By
who was the cop that eats way too much pizza?
Yeah.
That was just like, wait a minute.
Romania.
I eat that every week. I know exactly where Jerry's is. Also, the name of a pizza place in Romania is Jerry's.
So Eagle, my hometown, actually has a sizable Romanian population.
Really?
And by that I mean like over 100 Romanians.
Which is more than most neighborhoods in Colorado.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where this Romanian guy moved to town and he just like he was an entrepreneur, and he started like 3 or 4 businesses that all did really well, and then he just started like, he brought some family first, and then the family brought some friends, and then now there's little like Romanian neighborhoods, or one Romanian neighborhood in Eagle. Okay. But they also...
So the sex trafficking is really high in Eagle, Colorado. That's what you're trying to say.
One of this guy's biggest like businesses is a pizza place. We have a Romanian pizza place.
Oh, so it's just their thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never had Romanian... I've never once heard somebody say like, oh, there's this great Romanian pizza place down the street.
I wouldn't say it's great. It's decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I would expect.
Yeah.
I've had Detroit style, Chicago, Romania.
He has a limo company and a pizza place, and I think he has like 1 or 2 other endeavors.
Not good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, really making his way in the world.
Yeah.
But I mean, so this all started because he was picking a fight with Greta Thunberg. And again, another person that I'm like, how is this person still relevant?
Oh, I like Greta.
I know, but she just kind of like had her heyday a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, she gave like
she should be relevant too. We haven't done anything she demanded.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I just don't. Honestly, like I kind of forgot about her. I feel like she hasn't really been in the public eye.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just like, how did these two even link up?
Did she tell him he had a small dick or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, he said after being shut down by Greta Thunberg for small dick energy. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great that a child is throwing around these kinds of like insults online.
An autistic Asperger child was just like, I'm gonna take down this. Is he a UFC fighter, Andrew Tate?
Kickboxer, yeah.
I'm gonna take down a kickboxer by telling him he has a tiny dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got she's got the globe behind her. She's funded by the planet.
Yeah.
And she can just throw around insults as much. If I said that to somebody, they're gonna slap me. We're gonna scrap. She has immunity.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Punch a little kid? Punch a little girl?
Yeah, yeah. I've been because I'm staying with Jake Brown and Samantha Taylor, and her nickname is Tiny Dynamite. Her license plate says Tiny D, and she's been letting me drive her car around town. And just like I know I get looks when I like step out of her car, and I've got this license plate that says Tiny D, but it's at the same time it's like, sure, it's a little like. I don't know. It's both empowering and also like makes me a little self-conscious. But I think I'd feel the exact same way if I was driving around like a giant truck with truck nuts.
Yeah, at least you're letting people know and you're not hiding it.
Yeah. There's like it feels like I'm like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like Tiny D. Yeah, I'll own it.
I have other great qualities.
Yeah. Whereas like, but at the same time, it's also like a little car. And I feel like if I had a big truck, like it'd be like, oh my God, people are gonna think I'm that total fucking douchebag.
Yeah, but the people that drive those big trucks around aren't thinking that at all.
They're not.
But if you're borrowing the truck.
But yeah, I would have the perks of just being like, whenever I'm feeling like that, like, well, I can always just push the gas pedal and make a big and get that little fucking ego boost for a second.
Yeah. If I ever saw you driving around like a big truck that you were borrowing from somebody, I'd be like, Brett's changed.
I was a truck guy for a while.
So Hollywood now.
I always had little trucks, but yeah.
Yeah. Like an F-150 or something? Or
no, smaller. Ford Ranger.
Oh, those things were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I loved being a truck guy. I feel like I still identify as a truck guy. A little truck, like a Tacoma.
Just introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Brett. I'm a truck guy.
Man. Pickup man. You know that Joe Diffie song?
I don't have one, but if I did, if I had a car, it would be a pickup. I mean, because it's like people drive pickup trucks like in New York City still, right?
Not a lot.
Not a lot?
Not a lot. Good. I mean, like if you go to Eagle, it's like 2 out of 3 cars are pickup trucks.
Well, they're like practical there, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are doing more shit in the mountains.
I'm terrified to get a pickup truck again in New York because I feel like I would just have to help everyone move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just help. And you're like, I don't like that many people that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really the problem. It's me more having more difficult conversations that I want to.
Right.
Like, hey, you know what? We're really not that good of friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to your wedding.
Right.
I'm not letting you use my truck.
I think I have to lie to people a lot about my schedule. Like, oh, I'm busy that day too.
Fuck. All right, man. Well, that's going to do it for our dumb news stories of the week. So let's get into your story. I mean, like I said, I feel like, growing up in Eagle, living in New York City, living in Albuquerque, there's a lot of opportunity to get into some ridiculous bullshit.
Some crime stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you pitched this to me earlier, the one I pitched to you, I was like, well, I was on, I had jury duty on a murder trial in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's so dope.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of.
Well, yeah, of course. But I mean, how many people get that opportunity?
Not a lot, I'm learning, but it wasn't an opportunity I was seeking out either. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was like also like fairly intense too.
Was that your first time on jury duty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What a way to get into it. You're
I
like,
know.
couldn't we have gotten a jaywalking first?
I know. Well, every other time I got jury duty, I just like, I sent him a letter that said I couldn't do it, and I got excused. And then this time I came in, and I didn't want to do it, but they asked me a question that was like when they were like quizzing people, they were like, is what's right and wrong more important to you than the law?
Wait, what?
And I said, yeah, of course. And and when I don't even remember if it was the defense attorney or the prosecutor, but after I said that, you're like, interesting, and made a note, and then moved on to the next guy.
So wait, were they trying to say like, this might have been a good reason, but it's against the law, so that doesn't matter?
I don't even know what they were getting at. They just kind of I think they wanted someone with an open mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that question to me seems like, they robbed this store, but they really needed it, so that's more important.
And dude, and I would totally call that guy innocent too.
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like I didn't see anything.
Yeah, someone steals food or diapers, I didn't see shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what if he likes to eat diapers?
Yeah,
that's his business.
Yeah, and I was also one of only 2 white jury members.
Okay.
Yeah, me and the girl who does all the voiceover commercials for Pandora.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, you're listening to Pandora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like anytime that she speaks up in the jury community, people are like, "Are you
Wait a
playing
minute.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
for music to come on as soon as you're done speaking."
Yeah.
So, how long was the trial?
It was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So pretty. I mean, so it didn't not prolonged. Like,
No.
was it pretty obvious that this person had done it?
They had footage of the murder.
Oh, then why do you even need a jury?
Yeah. It was pretty cut and dry. It happened.
Formalities.
It happened in where Canarsie is?
No.
Deep Brooklyn, like the end of the L train.
Okay.
Yeah. Happened in Canarsie. Happened in the parking lot of a Popeyes, where most murders happen.
So I don't go there.
Yeah.
I specifically go to Carl's Jr. just for that
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, exactly.
Nothing bad ever happens
Honest
there.
to God, I do have like an issue eating Popeyes since then. I'm just kind of like, I just think about the murder so much.
And PTSD. You can't even eat a bite of chicken. It's like somebody
Yeah.
gets you some chicken tenders, and you're like, where? You take a bite of it, and you're like, where is this from?
And I don't like fast food, but I do think Popeyes is okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like, let's not go to Popeyes.
Is there another chicken place, please?
It was like JFK. We just watched it like forward, back, like just watching this murder over and over again.
You just had to watch somebody get murdered.
Oh
like,
my
a lot of
God! Oh my
times.
God! Hundreds of times.
Why? I mean, at what point? Like, how are they breaking it down? How were they like?
So
talking
because
to you guys about what's
there was
happening?
3 major charges we had to decide. One was like one was first degree murder, one was like assault with a deadly weapon, and one was like illegal possession of a handgun. And the footage was so grainy you couldn't actually see that he had a gun in his hand, like when he pulled it out. But like it was very obvious that when someone makes a motion where they pull something out of their jacket and then the other person across from them just drops immediately.
They just faint. Then it's like, well, he could have fainted.
He could have fainted.
They could have.
But then they found him with bullet holes through him.
That's a little more suspicious.
Yeah,
it's hard to get out of that.
Yeah, so we had to decide. Like we had to like break it down. And be like, so do we all agree this crime was done with a gun?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that charge is guilty.
Does the question of the bullet holes could have been there before this interaction? Did that come up?
That didn't come up at all. No.
It's like a car accident. You're like, well, that fender bump was there before this accident. So
I was telling the story. I tried to make a bit of it on stage for a while, talking about how like one of the most nerve-wracking parts of it was that like we had to wear, they wanted you to wear a collared shirt and like nice pants every single day to jury duty. And as the trial went on longer and longer, I was running low on collared shirts.
yeah, because how many could you possibly have?
Yeah,
you don't work in a formal
to
setting.
the point that like I was like during the last couple of days, I was looking at like my closet, being like, I may have to wear a Hawaiian shirt that says you better believe it.
That's so funny. I mean, just like a sign of how little the jury is starting to care about this trial.
Yeah.
It's like you're wearing Hawaiian shirt and sweatpants, sir.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we knew this guy was guilty a week ago.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, is so like once we like got to like deliberating, like one person is just automatically made like the lead juror, the jury foreman, but just randomly, you know what I mean? They don't pick the person who's like the best leader.
Yeah.
They just pick someone randomly. And they weren't a leader at all. And then we got into like the room to deliberate, and then just no one was talking. We were all just kind of quiet. And I totally like had to like take the reins and like stand up and like, okay, let's figure out these charges one by one if we all agree on them and whatnot.
Leave it to the white guy to take charge in the room.
Dude, I totally...
What a dick.
But no, the whole I did it like a field marshal too. Like I was just like, if anyone wants to take over, please let me know, and you can. But here, I think we can get out of here quicker if we just break it down in these simple things.
Totally.
Yeah, and so I did that and everything, and just kind of... He got really intense too, or just kind of like...
Because you were taking it over?
No, not that. Just like the actual talks, and certain people were on different sides of the argument of whether he was guilty or not.
So what were they saying about not guilty? Like what was their argument?
So like I came in, and I was like, okay, guys, he's obviously guilty. We saw this, and then I slowly convinced every single member of the jury that he was guilty except for one. It was this priest. This black priest, and he's like, no, he's like, I do not believe it was first degree murder. He's like, it was manslaughter. He's like, these kids, because the kid was like 19 years old.
Yeah.
And what happened was he was like, his drug dealer was shaking him down for drugs and just kept kicking his ass, like kept beating his ass. Oh. And the kid kept getting back up, and the fucking like drug dealer who was much bigger than him would just like fucking slap him and fucking knock him down to the ground again. And clearly talking shit the whole time.
So the drug dealer's the one that got shot?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, slapped him down like over and over again, and then like the third time he fucking like slapped him to the ground, the kid just got up and shot him.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could kind of see. Wouldn't that be self-defense?
No, if you have the option to turn and run and you don't do it, you can't claim self-defense. And this kid totally had the option to turn and run. But the priest too was just like in these really like rough neighborhoods, like the people think they don't have the option because they think they'll like lose all
credibility, clout, all that.
Yeah. And so he was just like, I don't think he intended to kill him. I think it was just like a heat of the moment, just like I'm getting my ass kicked. I don't know what to do. I can't run. It's not an option.
Damn.
Yeah, and pulled the gun and shot him.
I mean, I guess I can see that argument.
Yeah.
But based on like the letter of the law, it's like, all right.
No, but once he made the argument too, I was like, guys, he convinced me.
Wow. You got flipped.
I flipped, and then slowly everyone else flipped too.
So did they? So was it? Did they end up getting manslaughter?
Yeah. So the kid got 10 years. He would have got 20 if it was murder, but he got 10. And I do believe we did the right thing too, because it was totally just like a heat of the moment kind of thing.
All right,
yeah.
That's a win for a priest. Usually they don't have a lot to brag about these days.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I believe like a 19-year-old who does something really stupid, like he did kill a guy. Like there should be consequences, but
I could totally see
10 years is kind of a good punishment for that.
Oh, for sure. 10 years is a long ass time to go to prison. And I see that argument too, especially because if you're just getting your ass kicked, and you have a gun on you, and you're like, all right, well, can you stop? If you're not going to stop, I'm going to make you stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, fight or flight is a real thing, right?
Absolutely.
I guess having baked into the norms of the neighborhood is just like, this kid's going to get his ass kicked every day for the rest of his life if he doesn't shoot this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Now, he's a cool guy in prison.
He
has respect.
I guess.
He killed somebody.
He definitely should be in prison.
Yes.
But yeah, I walked away feeling like we did the right thing.
Damn, dude. That's insane.
But dude, that kid better be thanking that priest because he saved him 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were all ready to be. Also, I should mention too that on the jury, we had such a variety on the jury of just from 18-year-olds to 80-year-olds. And from brilliant people to fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And I really
a real representation of America.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the dynamics of that too, because sometimes someone that was just dumb as hell would be like, wait a minute, can you explain that to me again? And we'd all be like, oh, God
damn it.
And you explain it again, and then as you explain it again, a new question comes up, and they're like, oh, that is a good point. What about that? You know what I mean? And so it's having stupid people on the jury helped a lot with us making these decisions. Yeah.
Talk to me like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. It really helped. Yeah. I believe in the process of having 12 randos. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So would you say overall, probably an experience you wouldn't want to do again, but were you glad that you had that experience?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like
I'm not really glad, but it's kind of like getting punched in the face with the brass knuckle. I'm more thankful for that experience, getting punched in the face with the brass knuckles, than I am the jury duty.
Yeah, because at least now you know how to carry yourself.
Oh yeah, dude. Traveling alone, I learned more about myself than college.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just learn how to interact with people, how to take care of yourself.
Right. How to not freak out when you're lonely. Yeah. How to not be dependent on someone else.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fuck. I'll be I'm traveling for a month in Vietnam in February.
Yeah.
So I get to rehash all those skills like all over again.
That's where that conversation started with earlier, where everyone's like, "Do not be afraid to travel in Vietnam." Yeah, like it's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So before we wrap things up, there was a request for me to tell a story about a crime that I committed.
Go on.
In high school. I mean, I think it'd kind of be like a destruction of property more than anything. So this is for my buddy Matt, who messaged me, and he said he's been waiting for me to tell this story since I started doing the podcast.
God bless you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. You're a G. And congrats on your new house and your new promotion, by the way. You're killing it, bud. But so when we were in high school, I was a dumb kid in high school in terms of like I just like to do dumb shit. It was never anything to like really hurt anybody or whatever, but pranks and whatever. So we knew the combination to Matt's locker, and I decided it would be super fun to poop in Matt's hat. And I didn't. But the key was I didn't want to just poop in the hat, because then he wouldn't put it on.
Yeah.
So I had a turd, basically. I went to the bathroom, had a turd, and then I just kind of like, took a paper towel, and then I smeared some of it on the inside of his hat so that he would put it on later. And I got caught because the guys that I did it with, these fucking assholes, I think it was Trip and somebody else. I can't remember
Fucking
who.
Trip.
Yeah, fuck Trip. And I think they told Matt, and obviously Matt was mad.
Yeah.
So we go down, like I get called down to the principal's office.
Wait, after you put the hat on or before?
Oh, he had put the hat on.
Okay.
Yeah, he put the hat on.
Wait, so you transported the shit with a paper towel from the bathroom?
No. So I brought the hat in the bathroom with
Okay.
me. Yeah. And then and smeared it in there. And then Matt put the hat on. We ran to his locker right after class because it was the end of school. Yeah, we had to witness. And so we found out. We go down to the principal's office. And Matt really wasn't, to his credit, he was not even really that mad. He was just like, I just want a new hat.
Yeah.
I don't even, I don't really want Corey to get in trouble.
Wait, what year was this? What middle school?
No, we were like seniors.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we must have been juniors because Trip, I forget, Trip was a year ahead of us.
Still, hat money's significant at that age.
Hat money is significant. It was a dumb thing for me to do.
Was it a good hat? Was it
like
throwback?
It was like an old hat. It looked like it had been worn a long time, so it had more sentimental value.
But yeah, if someone fucked up a good old hat of mine, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, so, but I mean, to Matt's credit, like, he didn't want to narc me out. He's just like, I just want a new hat. But then the principal was like, well, we can't just let him get away with this.
Yeah.
You know? So then I got suspended from school for that.
For how long?
I think a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 days. But the problem that day was that my brother had driven my mom's car to school that day, and my mom didn't have a car. So she had to walk down to the school in the pouring rain to come get me.
Angry wet mom?
Angry wet mom, and then had to tell her to her face that I pooped in somebody's hat. She was furious.
Yeah.
You remember like one of the dumbest pranks you did in high school?
I mean, I've been doing a bit about one of the dumbest pranks I did in middle school, but I didn't have any sort of criminal charges. We painted an obscene painting on a ceiling tile, that was the legacy when you left 8th grade. You got to paint a ceiling tile, and me and my friend painted an obscene picture that you could only see if you put two ceiling tiles together. And it was one guy like bending over, another guy behind him, of course, plugging him in the ass, and
plugging him in the ass, which is just a great phrase.
With a hot dog. He wasn't doing it. Yeah, he was holding a hot dog and sticking it in his butt. Which alone, the ceiling tiles looked totally innocent on their own. Weird, but innocent. But you put them together, and it was that. And we put it up, and we're like, we got to put it up in front of the principal's office so everyone sees. Which I don't know why we thought that, but then it got taken down right away.
It's daring.
I know. It lasted a couple hours tops before they took it down, and then we got suspended. We couldn't go on the. It was 8th grade, so there was like a class trip. It was like not graduation, but continuation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to go on that, and then we got suspended for a couple of days. And
how many people were involved?
Just two of us.
Just two.
But I will say this, that like the class trip, our class was so much fun. We had 150 kids, and for the class trip, anyone that had gotten in serious trouble that year wasn't allowed to go on the class trip, and it was just over 50% of people didn't get to go on the class trip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because everybody got in trouble or what?
Yeah, because we all got in trouble for various things throughout the year. And when it came time for like the actual day of the class trip, like we all shipped to school, and then like all the good kids got to go, but boy, oh boy, was it a separation of who's cool and who's not.
Yeah.
And if you were not cool, you had to go on the class trip, and all the cool kids like hung back at the school. And then we had to do like chores around the school.
But you were probably just goofing.
We were just goofing around. It was all the cool. It was all the most fun kids in the school. It was great.
It's so you're stuck doing chores, but it's literally without the nerds.
Yeah. It was all the fun kids. Yeah. Our punishment was specifically is because we got in trouble for a painting. We had to paint the in-school suspension room, which was just like this closet that had cubicles in it. We had to repaint that because it was all covered in graffiti about how the principal was gay and stuff like that. And so we had to repaint it, but we had to paint it with tiny paintbrushes. And so we had to repaint the whole thing with tiny paintbrushes. And then like halfway through the day, when we weren't halfway done, they came in and yelled at us, being like, "How come you guys aren't done by now?" And we're like, "Well, we have tiny paintbrushes."
Because of how you were punishing.
Because of the ironic punishment you gave us. But also that they left me and one of my best friends in a room alone all day to like paint and bullshit.
Yeah, how fast do you think this is going to get done?
Yeah.
This is union work.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad punishment. We just sat there and goofed around. It was great.
That's awesome, man. So plug all your stuff. I know because this episode's going to come out this week. So you're doing a power hour on Thursday, right?
I'm doing Comedians Power Hour on Thursday at
coming Thursday.
Yeah, Western Sky Bar, Harrison Garcia's place.
What 5th?
January 12th. No, sorry, next Thursday. Okay. Next week Thursday, and then I'm doing it in Fort Collins at the Comedy Fort on the 13th.
So tell people what Power Hour is.
Power Hour is a drinking competition / comedy competition, where we have two comics go back and forth with 2-minute sets, but every 2 minutes we stop the show and they both got to take a double shot of beer, like the Power Hour, which is a shot of beer every minute for an hour.
Yeah.
But we do a double shot every 2 minutes for an hour. And then as the show goes on, we give them like weird challenges, like do each other's jokes, or, now give the audience a halftime speech, shit like that. And so once they're drunk, we just make it sillier and sillier.
It's a great show.
It's a good show.
It's one of my favorite shows to watch.
Yeah. It's I like watching it too. Boy oh boy is hosting it a pain in the ass.
I believe
it's like you're chaperoning a drunk field trip. It's so obnoxious.
And there's so many moving parts.
So many.
That's the thing. I don't know if you remember this, but I had tried to start excuse me. I tried to start a similar kind of show called House Party 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And because I wanted to check with you to make sure that I wasn't like doing too much overlap on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was the same kind of idea. It was all like college party themed games that had to do with stand up and improv. Yeah. And I did it one time. I almost killed Ian Aber. Because do you know Ian?
Yeah.
So
I do.
One of the games we decided to play was Dizzy Bat.
Yeah.
Where you have to do Dizzy Bat and then do 3 minutes of stand up.
That's how you fall off stage.
Yeah. Especially like, even if you just eliminate the drinking part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time you did a Dizzy Bat is.
Dizzy Bat's brutal.
It's hard.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're.
Was it just 3 turns?
No, 10.
10. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And Ian, who's a pretty big dude, almost fell off the stage.
I would imagine.
Oh my gosh!
If I had to bet on myself, I'd be like, I will definitely fall off the stage, no matter how big the stage is.
So then we did that in like 5 other games, and I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like, it's too stressful. Like with Interrogation, like the live show, it's way easier.
Yeah.
It's really just like people telling their stories.
Yeah.
And then we sit them down at a table, and we in the audience ask them questions about it afterwards.
Where are you doing Interrogation, the live show?
So I tour with it, and if we do it locally, it's at Bandit Oak Brewing on South Broadway.
Okay.
I try to do it locally like once a month.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, I don't know if you've had this experience, but when I do it on the road, it's way more successful than when I do it locally.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why.
Power Hour is the most successful here in Denver, but in New York, it's like pulling teeth. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
And we're doing it in Fort Collins with some New York comics, and I'm already like running into all the same issues I had in New York, and I'm just kind of like, oh my God, you guys are so obnoxious. Yeah. I'm not just making ridiculous demands. Just do the show.
Just do the show. It's a fun time.
They're like, well, I'll do it, but I only want to be there for the first 10 minutes, and I don't want to drink beer. I only drink wine. And you're like, no, here's the show.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, and they're getting specific.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to drink that.
I think you're trying to change the show to a different show. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other fun part about it is, so we try to basically just riff on the questions.
Yeah.
What I figured out is that the stories themselves don't really have to be funny. Like the intriguing part is that somebody's they're admitting to something really dumb that they did.
Yeah.
They're part of that's intriguing. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
The funny part is the questions, and then we put my phone number up on the TV screen.
Yeah.
So that people can text in their own crimes for us to read on stage.
Okay.
So
I like
it's really
that.
fun. I love doing it. But the next one we're doing is actually down in Houston, Texas at Secret Group on January 28th. So if you want to grab tickets to that, you can go on my website to get the link, or you can go to Secret Group. I think it's secretgrouphtx.com. Just Google.
And those Secret Group guys are fun.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
And we did one down there last year. It was the first one that I actually did on the road, and it went really well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited about it. But, yeah, plug anything else you want to, all your socials and stuff before we get out of here.
I am Brett Hiker on everything. Brett with 2 T's, Hiter. And, yeah, that's about it. Right now I got Power Hour going on, and I got that. And just in general, just doing tons of stand-up. So
yeah, man, it's really good to have you. I mean, every time you're back out here is always really good to see you.
Yeah, I'm always stoked to be back here. People are always like I often have really good shows when I'm in Denver, and people are just like, man, you've like really gotten good in the last 6 months in New York, and I'm like, no, I'm just happy to be home.
Yeah, you can just see it on stage.
Yeah, it's like Dave Clay once told me too. It's like whatever you're feeling inside, it's contagious. You'll make the audience feel it too. If you're happy to be there, the audience will be happy. If you're nervous, you'll make the audience nervous.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, I'm always just crazy happy to be home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, every time you come home, everybody's just like, let's hang out. Let's do let's just do fun things.
Yeah,
because they don't get to see you very often.
Absolutely.
You know. Yeah. So check out all my stuff at Fake Corey David on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Go to the website CoreyDavid.com. Check out all my upcoming tour dates, including Colorado, New York, and Houston. If you haven't already, please subscribe on iTunes or however you listen to this podcast. My YouTube page, just subscribe and like and review all that shit. It all helps. It adds up. And keep an eye out if you're local in Denver. Keep an eye out for the next Rooster magazine that's coming out. I don't know if I'd talked about this on the show already, but we started doing a monthly satire police blotter that coincides with the podcast and coincides with the live show. So I'm doing that for them monthly.
All right.
The two. So,
nice.
yeah. So take a peek at that. Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us.
For sure.
Later.
All right. See you.